And so, with that said, I'm your boy Charles Gregory with the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
and the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And so, who we have today? Who do we have today?
So we have the amazing Queen Raffaella, a dynamic BBC radio correspondent, model, and philanthropist. As an ambivert, she finds joy in both the simple comforts of life and the glamorous world of entertainment. Queen Raffaella's impressive journey, which began with a short film role at age 16 and led to her esteemed position at the BBC, showcases her talent for curating fashion, interviewing top names in music and entertainment, and connecting with like-minded individuals. So you guys put your hands together and give it up, give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome for Miss Queen Raffaella.
Hi guys, thank you so much. I must say, I don't know about the model part. I don't know where that come from. I got to thank my publicist for that because I don't do no modeling.
Well, you sure look like you can.
Yeah. Well, we know that the fashion is undeniable.
Girl, I'm having a bad hair day. That's the real truth. It's 2:27 a.m. I was out all day, and I thought the hat's staying on.
Oh, well, I'm glad you wore the hat because it's making a statement.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. How are you guys?
We're doing amazing. How are you? How's your, because there's so much going on right now. How is your mental health and how are you, the self-care and all that, which is very important. How's that going for you?
You know what? I'm someone that always keeps it 100. This year has probably been one of the most testing, challenging years that I've had in a very long time. But you know what? All of it for a reason. So I'm good now. But we go through life strifes and struggles and we get through them. So yeah, all good now. All good now.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because it's like, especially us, the ones that are like working hard and because you started out at 16. So the ones that are like working hard and you're making a mark for yourself. It's like we go through the hardest times.
Definitely. And I think, I'm someone that was raised by a man. I was raised by my dad solely. And so I always grew up with this work ethic and this mindset that you must work hard. And that's all I did. But I think as I've got older and as I've sort of matured more into myself and in my career, I've realized also just being a woman is a lot, how incredible we are. Absolutely. And what we deal with and what we do on a day-to-day. I'm preaching already. And I just feel like I'm someone that was always very wary of women and very cautious just because I was raised around all men and I couldn't have met such incredible women throughout my journey and throughout this journey. And being a woman in this industry as tough as it is also. So yeah,
Wow. You mentioned that, your journey and it started at a very young age. Tell us more about that and how you got into any of the short film roles and the acting. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I was never really the academic type in school. I was always just interested in performance, in media, in music. And my dad really championed that in me. And I just went on to study it. And I was in school and they were casting for a short film. And I just thought, well, why not go for the casting? I went for the audition. And I remember in that audition I'd already lived like 9 lives. I've lived so many different lives. And even though I was 16, I just threw everything that I had gone through throughout those 16 years into this audition. And that was the start for me. And that was almost like, it was very cathartic, the acting, because it was like therapy. It was really me tapping into anything that I just needed to heal or work on and also just feel, So yeah, so that was my journey and that's how I started off. And then from there, I was unstoppable. I'm someone that likes to learn my craft inside out. So I worked behind the scenes. I studied. I shot commercials for 5 years, teaching models how to act on set, which I absolutely hated because I wanted to be the actress. And yeah, and that was sort of the journey for me. But I've always been someone that's liked to study my craft. You know, even in radio now, I started from the very bottom. I started at what we call the reception, front of house. And I networked and I worked my way up. And then as soon as I got into radio, I was running around making the teas, and I was assisting, and I was learning, and I was watching the presenters. And I'm a big believer in, you know, learning your craft, and also learning the people around you and the characters, and the type of people that you deal with. Because especially in a corporate world, when you work for the BBC, for example, or in radio, you're going to come across so many different people. And so I studied everyone and studied everything. And that sort of led me to where I got to.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned BBC Radio. What was one of your one of your most challenging interviews you've had?
Ooh, how long you got? I'm joking. Shall I really out this person?
Or if without outing them, just tell us how that experience was.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to say it because I've kind of got over it now. we had Masego on the show, who I absolutely love. I love his voice. I was always a big, big fan. And I don't know if this guy just woke up from a nap or he had... I don't know, been smoking something. I have no idea, right? Let's just say he was like half asleep. He literally responded with every question as, that's Googleable. That's also Googleable. And it was like, and obviously you're doing a live show on air. I'm so excited, you know. You know, they say don't meet your idols. Well, I learned that one. And yeah, and so it was very interesting. And then my co-host at the time just thought, I'm just going to go so left with this interview. And she literally just said, say we're on a date right now. You know, what food are you cooking me? And it just went so left. And I was like, where is this going? Food is oh my God. And he loved it. And then he perked up and he was great. But yeah, I've interviewed some characters over the years, but that was one that always stood out to me because I thought, I don't know if I can interview him again. So yeah.
Oh, that was awesome. And is that the soccer player?
Masego, no, he's a singer. So he's very well known for his song Todo. And let me not okay. But you'll know the song if you hear him. One of my funniest interviews was with Dame Dash.
Okay, yeah.
He was probably our longest interview ever. That man can talk. And I
remember with Dame Dash.
Yeah, exactly. I remember actually calling him a naughty boy live on air because who calls Dame Dash a naughty boy? Like, who does that? Because he swore. And yes, you can't swear live on the BBC. I'm sure you can't swear anywhere on radio. Right. And I was like, I had to stop the interview right away and say, I just want to apologize to anyone that was offended. We have to shut it down. And he was like, what did I say? And I said, well, Dave, I can't repeat what you just said. So yeah, we've had some fun over the years. We have had some fun for sure.
How do you navigate in such a male-dominated field? I mean, and I think as a journalist, it's tough out here, and a lot of the parts of the industry is so cutthroat, and I know you said you're probably strong, so it's probably okay for you. I mean, does it get intimidating at times?
So I done a panel talk the other day. I was always one of those people, because I go back to my childhood, I go back to my father, and my father in my upbringing was very much, if you haven't got a hope in heck of doing this, just try your best. So his thing was always never to raise me too high. So I just sort of spent my life going, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to get into that drama school. I'm going to get on the BBC, and that was sort of my drive. And then it got to a point in my life where I was like, I no longer need to prove anything to you, because everything I said I was going to do, I did. But on this panel the other day, I really much spoke about the importance of earning your value within the workplace, knowing your place when you first enter, and earning your value to the point where people can't turn around and say, well, she's not good enough for this because she hasn't been able to do it. But yeah, I totally hear you. At times it's frustrating. And also, the longer you spend in a place, you know, who I am now when I walk into work is exactly who I am. You know, that's taken me a long time to get to that, because I've spent many years not being afraid to speak up, because I was scared, you know, to speak up within this workplace, because I valued my job and I loved what I did. But I think you've got to get to a point where you stay true to you. And if that no longer serves you and you don't feel like you're being heard, we live in a time now where we can create our own. I got so many no's throughout my life. There was another radio station that I wanted so bad, and I never got it. I still never got it till this day. But what I decided to do was become their competition. I thought, you're not going to let me in? Well, let me go and use my network and use all of the next. And at the time, I wasn't trying to become a competition, because they were huge. They had a much bigger listenership than my station. They were national and I was local. And I remember getting yes function on. And this is all, I spent years just networking and working with, you know, just building my network in the States, traveling on my own. And people couldn't understand how I knew all these people. And I was getting them on this little platform at the time. And I remember the head of the big station coming to me and saying, how are you getting Rock Nation on? Because I was thinking behind the scenes. I wasn't going straight to the artists. I was thinking of the people that were running these labels. And yeah, I think that just sort of perked a thing with them. And then it became a thing where I got a Shanties Only UK interview. And I remember a couple of months ago, one of the producers pulled me to one side and he said, you've become our competition. Till this day, I still never got that station. And he said, you've become our competition, because we were the only station that were getting the huge artists on the shows. And you're doing this all yourself. And these guys have producers, they have people setting up shows. And yeah, and so when it comes to that, I don't know, I always feel like the clean-hearted always win, for one. And you got to earn your value in this game. You got to work hard and just trust yourself. And I'm so sorry, because I talk to England.
Hey, listen, you on We Talk Weekly. So you can talk all you want, all right? And so I want to jump a little bit into that, because I want to know what gave you your grit, right? Because you're very outspoken. You do really well with presenting who you are. And you mentioned earlier that, you know, pretty much you were daddy's girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had your dad was there, and you know, did he inspire you in any way to kind of like say stand tall? Like, how influential were your dad in the you know, what you're doing right now in media, and even your modeling and some of the things that you're doing now?
He was extremely influential. Honestly, I say to this day, if he didn't support my madness and he didn't support what it is that I enjoyed doing, because he still says to this day, you were never going to be a scientist. You were never going to be a doctor. I was that girl that would walk into science and get sent out as soon as I walked in. You know, I was trouble. But when it came to music and media and creative things, I was just all in. I would listen. That was my thing. And he championed that. And honestly, if he didn't, then God knows what I'd be doing. But I say all of that, and I've had so many jobs. You know, I've done the worst kind of jobs. I've done everything, you know. I haven't just had it easy. Nothing. I was working from young. But that's something he instilled in me, the importance of hard work. And I think if I didn't have that one parent or that one person in my life that said, you know what, you may not get any of this, but just try. That was all I needed.
I love that. I love that. And I appreciate you bringing him up. You know, as a guy, right, on a platform like this, oftentimes you hear coming from everyone how, you know, detrimental sometimes to men, and how male dominated. We don't give, you know, access. We don't give, you know, and to hear that, you know, your dad was there to kind of uplift and amplify. I think we need to hear more of those stories. We need to hear more of those stories.
Definitely. I totally agree with you. I think just having a male figure in your life, period, is so important. I mean, I say that because I didn't have a strong female, you know, and that's where I lack. But my relationships with women in later life, like my best friends and incredible sisters that I call my family, my chosen family, I'm so grateful for, because they have taught me so much now. So you know what, in life there's yin and there's yang.
That's right.
And I think just having that, even if it's your mother, you know, just having that person, whether it's a teacher, whether it's someone that's saying, you know what, I believe in you, just try your best. It's everything.
That's it. Some of us, that's all we need to hear is I see you, I hear you, I support you. That's all some of us need to hear.
Absolutely.
To keep moving. And so we hear you, we see you, and we got you. Raffaella, you know. One of those things, right, I want to jump in too, because we didn't talk too much about it, because this is kind of like my sector, and this is what I love right here, right? Let's talk a little bit about your fashion, right? And you creating and curating kind of fashion visuals and things of that nature, right? And I say that because I'm going to pull up some pictures for the world to see.
Oh, I ain't looking like that now.
And
if only I look like that.
No, it's all good though. You look amazing, right? And so let's talk a little bit about, you know, your fashion, the fashion genre and the scope that you're in right now, and some of the things that you're doing, because I think people don't know too much about that side of you, right? And so I want to amplify that right now. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk some fashion.
Do you know what? I have a best friend who's an actual stylist, a celebrity stylist, and when I go out with her, I don't feel like I'm fashionable at all, because we are so different in our style. But she's the girl, she's dressing everyone. I'm either loud or not so loud. Like, I really dress on my mood. Like, honestly, I sometimes go to my studio looking homeless. Like, there's no in between. I am like extremely glamorous or extremely toned down and you wouldn't recognize me. But sometimes I can be, I guess that's the ambivert in me, you know, I like animal print, as you can see. I like things that are striking, that stand out. But I'm also quite sophisticated. I like a shirt and a blazer, and I never show too much. I've always been mindful of that as well. That's something that
I love that.
Yeah.
So what's one of the styles right now, one of the trends right now? Now we talking fashion, right? We're gonna talk a little fashion with you. Is that all right with you?
We can try. I mean, I hope I get this right.
It's all right. What's one of the styles and trends right now that's going on that you absolutely love, and one of the styles and trends right now that you're not too fond of?
Well, I'm loving this summer look right now that everyone's rocking with the linen. I love that the shirt at the back, everything loose and flowy and chic. I'm a big fan of the sort of chic style where you look like you just threw it on, but it's still a little bit glam.
Yeah, love it. Yeah.
What else? I like summer stuff. I love a summer dress. I love that kind of bohemian chic. What's the word? Kind of hippie vibe. I like to stand out with different kind of patterns. And I love Zara, if I can say brands. Zara is like, this is Zara. Everything I wear is Zara. So yeah.
And me too. I love Zara too. I think affordable fashion, I'm not against it at all.
I'm all about high street fashion, and I think it's about making it you own the clothes, you know, you make it look the way you want it.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about you getting up in the morning? When you get up in the morning, right? What's the first thing that you do? Not necessarily anything as it relates to fashion, right? But, you know, it's a lot of people who don't have the energy to get up, right? I'm kind of switching gears right now. They don't have the energy to get up. They don't, you know, sometimes they feel uninspired, right? What the first thing you think about, or the first thing you do when you wake up is what? Let's walk through Raffaella's day, right? A day. She said, "Oh, let's walk through that day. When you wake up, what's the first thing you do?"
It's so funny you asked this question, because a friend of mine, who I met earlier, I was telling her I've got into this terrible habit of checking my phone as soon as I wake up. I know. I don't do that.
And you know what? Before you move forward with that, right? It's interesting. It's interesting that you said that, right? Because we literally just had someone on the show last week that talked a lot about us being addicted.
Oh.
And if you do one thing in the morning every day, the same thing, if it's checking your phone, you might have an addiction. So
100%.
literally, I think the world has an addiction to their phone at this point.
Honestly, it's like, I was just saying to my publicist before I came in, I said, technology is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Because honestly, social media, how we navigate that, relationships, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a bad habit of checking my phone, and I'll be real with you. Sometimes that dictates my morning, which, you know, is not good. Yeah, it depends. I'm one of them people, if I'm getting up early, I have to set like 5 alarms, because I will sleep through them and incorporate that alarm in my dreams. So yeah, I don't like to just jump out of bed. I am the lazy one. I like to just rest and recuperate and gather my thoughts, and then I'll get up and I have my breakfast. And yeah, but you know what? I go through phases. I'm one of them people that, you know, I'll be on this thing where I'm like, gym, cold showers, that's it, ready and raring to go. And then some days I'm like, no, I'm staying in bed all day and I'm chilling.
That's an introvert. That's right.
Yeah.
Tell us more about the philanthropic efforts that you've been doing, and the passion behind that.
What stands out in particular?
Well, as a philanthropist, you do philanthropy work, correct?
Yeah, so I work with all sorts. So we do like panels. I do lots of work with young people. I brought a lot of young people into the station in terms of how I can help them and sort of build them and give them the tools that I once thought I needed. I throw events, various things, to be honest.
Awesome. We had a guest prior to you coming on, and you're over in where are you located?
London. Okay.
In London. So I know you've heard about the presidential things that are going on over here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And we were basically talking about the getting out the votes and having the young people come out and vote more. Although you're out of the States, what's your take on the whole presidential candidates that we have over here in the U.S. and what are others saying outside of the U.S. about that?
To be honest with you, I haven't had many a conversation with anyone here UK-wise. It's crazy, to be honest. I mean, sometimes I look at politics here in the UK and without saying too much, I just think this can't be real life. This is, it's a scary time. What I've seen between two previous presidents, I'm like flabbergasted. I'm like, is this a movie? Because what I see on CNN is just not real. I mean, I still believe that there's hope. And, hopefully Kamala does well. Don't know if I can say that. And yeah, I'll be honest with you. I went through a phase in life where having to come up through radio, I had to do hard journalistic stuff. Now I have nothing to do with it, because there was a time in London where there was so many nice stabbings going on. And I hosted this round table, and we had people that just had come from all types of backgrounds, and it was very heavy. And I was working on this show with this presenter who was covering all of these really dark stories, and it really affected me. I'm an empath, and as much as I have helped and covered these stories, it got to a point where I was scared to walk home at night, and it was affecting my mental health. And so I switched off from all news. And to be totally honest with you, I am a little bit ignorant to what is going on, so much so in the world, only because it helps me deal with my everyday life better. So the joke in my studio, in my office, is if there's breaking news, don't come to me, because I ain't gonna know what to say. I would crack a joke, but listen, breaking news, I can break it, but don't expect me to go on about it.
Good for you, though. Good for you.
Yeah, it just, it's awful. I hear about all these things that's going on in the world, and it's scary. It really, really is. And I don't mean to sound ignorant when I say that. I just, working for the BBC and covering some of the stories that I have over the years and speaking to victims and speaking to all these people, I just had to switch off from it because it was just really affecting me. So now I'm just like entertainment through and through, good vibes, helping as many people as I can.
Right.
When I get amazing people on my show, I want to talk about their journey. I want to talk about how they got to where they are and how we can inspire the next generation. Because I think that's important, giving people hope, you know?
Yeah. What is the legacy you want to leave?
Ooh, that's a good question. Here I come with a story. So during lockdown, I really questioned why I was doing what I was doing. And I came up with 3 words. And that was, I want to inform, inspire, and entertain. And those 3 words were the reason that I am still doing what I do, because I was at a crossroads in my life where I genuinely thought enough is enough. Doors aren't opening for me. I had my show, yes, but there was just so many blocks in the way. And those 3 words gave me such strength that I thought, well, if I'm informing, inspiring, and entertaining, then I'm doing all kinds of work. So if I continue that throughout my life, then I feel like I'd be happy with that as my legacy.
Awesome.
I love that. Yeah.
So, on a positive note, we just came off of a year which was a really, really huge year for hip hop, the 50th anniversary of hip hop. How is hip hop over in London and where you are, and is it as big as it was over here in the States? Because it was just like all year long there was a celebration of the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Like, how was that over there?
Do you know what? One thing in particular that I said to my producer, to my co-host, to the people that were on my team is, we have to go big. We have to really celebrate this, because hip hop was my first love in life. Many people wouldn't know it. I traveled to New York. I shot a documentary on the evolution of hip hop. I've been in the South Bronx and Rock and CL Smooth. Like, I am old school hip hop. Old school hip hop head. And so for me, it was so important for the BBC to champion that. And so during that time, we spent the month celebrating hip hop's 50th anniversary. I had Ghostface Killer on. I had Joe Conzo, who shot. He was the first photographer of hip hop when it was first born in the South Bronx. I think he shot Big Daddy Kane. He got this beautiful picture of him that's on the streets rapping. Wow. Joe is an incredible person. He's Puerto Rican. His grandmother was an incredible advocate for the South Bronx community. And I just wanted to talk about the birth of hip hop and where it came from and where it's at. And we really celebrated it. And we celebrated it with a lot of UK artists, because I think a lot of our UK artists, the majority of them have been inspired by hip hop and and the birth of it. So we went big.
So who's in your top 3? Like your top 3 biggest
Top 3. That's
favorite hip hop.
Okay, so I'll give you a top 5.
I was gonna say top 5 because sometimes it's hard to narrow it down to 3.
And it changes a lot, but I must say, Kendrick Lamar has definitely proved himself this year. So Kendrick's in my top 5. Jay-Z, Biggie, Smalls, no particular. It gets so hard. I get so stuck. Nas.
Yes.
And there's someone else. Who else is there? You know what? It changed. It's changed quite a lot. Kendrick, Jay-Z. I haven't been asked this question in so long. Who is there? I play about with the fifth one. I say sometimes it can be common. I know that's crazy to some people, but I love Corin's lyrics. Who else is there? Why is my brain gone blank? Big Daddy Kane.
That's a great list.
Big Daddy Kane, yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
That's a great list.
If I was to ask you, right, I usually throw towards the end of the interview, first and foremost, you got to promise that you'll come back. I think I'm going to talk to, I think you're quote unquote one of our label mates now, right? So one thing that I want Leslie to make sure that she kind of talks to you about is our New Year's wrap up show.
Okay.
And so we do like our top 5 kind of like top stories that happen in the world, right? I want you to be a co-host on our show during that time. And so we have a lot of people that kind of do this show. It's a 3 hours. We do 3 hours. We do 3 hours. So we want you to come on and be a part of that show. But I want to know, right? And this is a little curveball to you. I want you to dig deep in your purse, right? And I want you to think of the one thing that no one else knows about Raffaella that you can tell us today. So you got to dig deep. All those secrets that you got top.
A top secret.
All right, there you go. Let's go. Highlight me.
A top secret. And thank God this isn't a London station. Okay, this is a top secret, so we can't put this as no highlight. I mean, it's going to be out there, but. So I'm actually 7 months pregnant.
I need to see I want to see the bump. I need to see the bump.
Oh God, don't.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys heard it here first. Oh, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I know you're exhausted.
I'm having my first baby. It's very
so wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And he's half American. Wow. So I need to brush up on my politics.
you need to take a quick vacation when you have them in America.
Come to Philly.